Marvin Lewis era, all right? Joe Burrow, he's a quarterback of the future. I really, really like this guy. But he ain't no Big Ben. And by the way, Big Ben had to be isolated and quarantined to some degree. Why? Because he was potentially exposed to somebody who may have had it, but he didn't test positive for it, to my understanding. That's number one. Number two, completing 68% of his passes, 18 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. That's number two. Number three, the problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers has been running the football. They've got to have 5 wideouts, for crying out loud. Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Poole, and all of these brothers, and all of that stuff. I get Claypool. I'm sorry. You got all of that going on. The bottom line is, against Cincinnati, you can run on them. You can run on the Cincinnati Bengals. They're in Pittsburgh as well, and again, they're the Bengals. I expect the Steelers to show up and respond and put forth a better performance. I expect them to look in the mirror, recognizing how they stunk up the joint against the Dallas Cowboys, and that there was no way some dude making his first start should have given them the trouble that they gave them last week. I expect them to make amends for that subpar performance by treating a division team, a division nemesis like the Cincinnati Bengals, with the level of attention and fervor and focus that they deserve. And I expect the Steelers to go in there and handle their business and improve to 9-0 against a rookie quarterback in Joe Burrow, who I like a great deal. But damn it, he's still a rookie against one of his top 5 defenses in the National Football League. Steelers, handle your business. Period.
There's every reason to think the Steelers win this game. Rookie quarterback, as you mentioned, a defense who can get after it in multiple ways. You can see Joe Burrow under pressure the whole game. And the Bengals only have 2 wins on the season, and the Steelers are highly motivated coming off that Cowboys performance. Stephen A., I don't think the Steelers are going undefeated this year. I think that's a 2-loss team. I think you lose one game that's like a 50-50 game, a game on your schedule where you look, you go, oh, that could go either way. Maybe the Ravens. And you lose one game you're supposed to win. Now, I also agree that there are certain things about this that avoid being a trap game. First of all, Mike Tomlin doesn't play that, you know. Secondly, they have worries about COVID and how many guys are actually going to be available, and they're preparing as though Roethlisberger's going to play. And thirdly, it's a divisional rival. But the game simply means much less to them than it does to the Bengals. This is a Bengals kind of playoff type game. You know, at a certain point, Joe Burrow, who looks like he is a future at least excellent NFL quarterback, and has already shown stuff that makes you go, I'd like to have that guy as a quarterback for my team right now. They just have to start winning some games. They're a 2-win team. I think this may be one that they sneak by, especially depending on how many guys the Steelers are actually going to be missing on game time, come game time, because of COVID and because of their protocols. So I can't quite call it a trap game, but to me, it's like the next thing to it. You're supposed to beat this team.
Let your guard down a little.
You let your guard down a little bit. It is a divisional rival. And I agree with you that Joe Burrow is a special quarterback, but he has to start winning games. And this one, I have to believe, for Burrow and Cincinnati, has been starred for a while. I like the Bengals in the upset here by the skin of their teeth.
I don't like it at all. And I think this is an opportunity for James Conner to show everybody that he's worthy of being the start running back in the National Football League. Look, I like the guy. I love his story. Love him as a human being. Obviously, he's a solid back. He's somebody that belongs in the NFL. But, Pittsburgh Steelers, particularly how they were spoiled by Le'Veon Bell those years that he was in Pittsburgh. I'm just waiting for James Conner to really, really break out. Not be some methodical guy that just assists in moving the chains, but when you need him on a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1, he just can't deliver. I don't need that. I want somebody that's going to break out and make some noise. And I think Cincinnati's got like the 19th ranked Russian defense, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. But I just need to see more from James Conner in this regard. Big Ben, as long as he's in the lineup throwing the football, I'm not worried about the Steelers passing attack by any stretch of the imagination. I think they've got a multitude of weapons. The James Washingtons, the Juju Smith-Schusters, the Claypools of the world, the Deontay Johnson Johnsons of the world, Eric Ebron of the world. I mean, you've got a whole bunch of guys that's in their lineup that can do something. And I just see about 5 different weapons that you can throw the football to, and that is clearly when the Pittsburgh Steelers are most potent offensively. But this is an opportunity to really show that they got a running game, that they can run the damn football, and I think that they need to show it in this particular situation. And I'm going to assume that they're going to do that against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Don't forget, when you go through the COVID protocol, you can't be in the facilities, Stephen A. There are guys missing time with the team. Even if they clear eventually, they're missing time with the team. And there are 2 ways to look at the Dallas game. 1, Pittsburgh's going to be highly motivated to bounce back. 2, you really struggled against a bad team. And if you have to say which direction you anticipate the Bengals going, and I anticipate them ascending. And even without Mixon, it's not like Bernard can't run the ball. Like, they have a running game, and they're going up. They can, and they're going up against a run defense that hasn't looked as stout as they've looked to start the season recently. So, yes, I expect Pittsburgh to be motivated. That's why I can't quite call it a trap game. But they're just not playing their best football right now, and there are reasons to believe, just based on practice time, protocols, even if they have their players, that football is going to get worse, not better. I like Cincinnati in an upset. Do you think the Steelers are going to go undefeated this year?
No, I do not. Not by any stretch of the imagination, but I will tell you this.
Because this is the kind of game you lose.
If anybody could afford to sit out and not be around the team, it's Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's been there forever. He's about 38 years old. I mean, he's got 18 touchdowns, 40 interceptions, 68% completion percentage. I mean, the brother's been balling. So I look at Big Ben Roethlisberger. They know what they're going to get from him. I mean, I have faith in him that he can adapt to the time spent away from the team better than anybody else on their squad. I really do.
I know this. I'm taking Bernard in DraftKings this week, Stephen A. He's going to be on my daily fantasy team. Based on what I've seen from Pittsburgh recently and from him recently, I think Cincinnati will be able to get the run going. And I agree.
Joe Mixon's their guy, and I think he's questionable for the game if I remember.
Yeah, questionable. Right, yeah. Questionable. I'm not anticipating him there. But I think Burrow, when you have a guy like that we all see, there's something special there. At a certain point in the season, you actually have to make the play to win the game. And I see this as that kind of game where it's going to come down to it, and I expect some Burrow heroics here, especially since I'm not saying this actually is a motivating factor, but people are aware. We're watching Tua and Burrow and Herbert, and Burrow was the #1 overall pick, and he's showing you why. Tua's come on recently, and the Dolphins have been winning, and the best of the bunch so far has been Herbert. And great athletes have internal motivation for sure, but they're also externally motivated. It's impossible not to be aware of those kind of things. I expect Burrow to step up big against the Steelers.
Well, we're going to have a Herbert-Tua debate coming up later on First Take, but as for this discussion, Stephen A., you say no way an upset is happening. Max, you say by the skin of your teeth you think an upset's happening, but Joe Burrow, if you are listening, should you beat the Steelers on Sunday, you will become the youngest starting quarterback in the Super Bowl era to beat a team with a record of 8-0 or better. But